Mainstream media decided to conspiracy-monger about the Caesar Sayoc pipe bomb terror plot. This is the guy who sent pipe bombs to Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, CNN. I think he sent it to Michael Moore. He may have not actually sent it yet to Michael Moore, but he has a bumper sticker with crosshairs on Michael Moore, a bumper sticker with crosshairs on Jill Stein. Anybody who he considered left and prominent, he was just like, okay, I'm going to mail them pipe bombs. So, in the immediate fallout of that happening, look at what Sleepy Eyes Chuck Todd said on Meet the Press.
I don't like Nazi comparisons. I'm not comparing Trump to Hitler, but Goebbels called it the big lie. You just tell a lie as big as you can because you know that a lot of people are going to believe it.
This feels like a spot. I have this fear that it could be some Russian operation, too, designed to do what's happening now. More of this, and so in some ways we shouldn't rule out.
I'm just saying it's a very strange moment, and we have no idea where it comes from.
What? A Russian operation? By the way, there is zero evidence for that. None. Nothing at all. None. That is total, rank, gross speculation. Maybe the Russians are behind this. And there are still people who genuinely believe that there's not, like, a new version of a Red Scare that's happening. He just, like, to him, that was just, yeah, whatever. It's just, I'm just making a standard, normal comment accusing the Russians of being behind a pipe bomb terror attack attempt in the U.S. without any evidence whatsoever. Dude, that's Alex Jones level conspiracy mongering. That's Alex Jones level conspiracy mongering. The exact same amount of evidence that Alex Jones had that Sandy Hook was a hoax is the exact same amount of evidence that Chuck Todd has that the Russians were behind that attack. And also, by the way, I just want you to stop and think for a second. Take out Russians and put in any other group into that sentence. Imagine Chuck Todd said, hey man, all these pipe bombs, the pipe bombs that were sent to Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama and Joe Biden and CNN, all these pipe bombs, I mean, listen, I'm not saying for sure, it's speculation, but I'm pretty sure the Jews are behind this. What would everybody say? Oh, that is anti-Semitic. With no evidence whatsoever, you're accusing the Jews of being behind this grand plot. Everybody would say, oh, that's bigoted, what you just said. All right, if you don't like that example, take it out. Listen, I just happen to believe that it's possible that this is a big, this is a big terrorist attempt from the blacks. Are the blacks behind this? Even if you don't like the religious example or the race example, just fill in the blank with another nation. Say, oh, hey, man, maybe the Iranians are behind this. Okay, that one might not sound bigoted, but it sounds stupid, because it is stupid. That's stupid. But we're at the point now, we're at the politics of this country right now. It's at the point where you can float the idea with no evidence whatsoever that maybe Russia's behind this, and it's just considered like, oh yeah, it's a totally reasonable point. Dude, you're like Alex Jones. And by the way, why does Sleepy Eyes Chuck Todd have this position to Meet the Press? Because he's a robot and he's going to say dumb shit like that. Whatever the establishment narrative is, Chuck Todd is going to go with it. He doesn't think critically about this. You have to understand, the way that mainstream media works is they're only going to hire people who they're comfortable will push out there a narrative that the elites and the establishment are okay with. So you don't have to try to reel in Wolf Blitzer, for example, because Wolf Blitzer is going to basically be a robot and say the things that you expect him to say. It's like when Rand Paul said, hey, we should stop arming Saudi Arabia because they're killing women and children in Yemen. And Wolf Blitzer said, well, what about the profits for defense contractors? What about all the jobs tied to defense contractors? See, he's a dumbass, and he's going to regurgitate stuff from the perspective of the establishment. Well, Chuck Todd, that's exactly what he's doing here. Who's somebody I can blame for this that everybody else on the cocktail circuit will give me a pat on the head and say, maybe you're onto something there? I know. Let's blame the boogeyman of Russia. Alex Jones level conspiracy mongering. Yes, I think it's fair to say that there's a tinge of bigotry now in this kind of stuff. Because it's this amorphous, nebulous thing that they're secretly pulling the strings and controlling everything. The Russians! The Russians are behind it. And let me be clear, this is not to say Vladimir Putin is a good guy. He's not a good guy. He's a terrible guy. But when you speculate with no evidence and you push conspiracy theories and it's in the mainstream media, that shows you that these guys are actually guilty of a lot of the shit that people accuse them of being guilty of. See, it's because of guys like Chuck Todd that when fucking Donald Trump screams fake news in a totally self-serving and bullshit way, by the way, but that actually lands and that actually sticks. The polls show mainstream media is despised in this country. And yes, there's a lot of genuine fake news out there. And when fucking dumbass Chuck Todd goes out there and does rank conspiracy mongering based on nothing, that only helps the far right. And that only adds to the perception that mainstream media doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. And they're just as ridiculous as a guy like Alex Jones. So, congratulations there, Chuck Todd. You fucking doofus.